Welcome to Now About the James Build. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining me. Sorry it's been a bit of time since I last put out a video. I've actually been helping out a subscriber on the south coast renovate a house, which has been pretty good fun, to be honest, and pretty tiring at the same time. It's taken me away from the boats for quite a bit though, so hence the fact I haven't done a video. I also haven't done that much work on board, which is a problem because in just 4 weeks time Slow Patrol goes up north. Actually she's going back to North Kilworth Wharf where I built her, so that's kind of a nice completion of the circle for me. The new owner is actually going to invest quite a bit of money into Slow Patrol. I think he's putting on a new pram hood, he's going to fix some of the electrics and kind of modernise it a little bit, so give it another lease of life, which I'm sure most of you will be very glad to hear. I certainly am. So but it also means being on here, this is not suitable for the kids to come and stay. The older one's probably okay, but the little girls, no way. Their mum is not keen on them being on the boat at the moment. It's a complete building site, so quite right. So one of the main things I need to do from changing it from its current shape as a building site to make it look a bit more homely is this. I've got these flank lights. I've got about 30 of them down both flanks of the boat, and I need to work out the trim for this. I need to get rid of these and kind of house them properly, and that will really, I'm hoping, will really kind of shape the boat and give it some kind of definition. And it will then hopefully move it away from looking like a building site, as I said. But there's loads to do. So I've got 4 weeks, water system, electrics need to be finished. And then in terms of building on here, the only room I haven't done anything with is the bathroom. I still don't actually know what orientation I'm going for yet, which is a bit shocking, but I can make do with that. But I've got to get the boat kind of in a much more homely situation. So let's go to the timber yard, which is just up there, get some 18mm ply, I think, and then work out a way of doing this. Now it's the middle of the winter, I'm caning this reflex diesel stove, so it's time to give it a service and a clean. So I'm taking all the bits out, I'll get them cleaned and put it back together. Okay, she's all back together now. I completely took off the regulator, gave it a really good clean throughout. It was okay, but I've got a little bit of kind of crud in there, so that's all been cleaned out. There was a bit of an overflow because my float thing wasn't engaged properly, so it all started leaking out the top there. So I've just got that tray there to kind of ensure that there's no drips, just as I've put it all back together. But she is roaring away. You'll see here I've put a few pipes in. These are the back boiler pipes from the reflex, so when my water system is a bit more complete, I can then connect them up. But for the moment, I can start to get these pipes kind of all the way up to the calorifier. At the moment, they stop there, as do those two bottom ones, which are from the Vitas. So they've got to run all the way up to the end of the boat, which I'll do in a bit. But my next thing, you'll have noticed I bought a TV on board. That's because I'm planning on sleeping on here tonight. TV doesn't really work very well there for various reasons, so my plan is to put it on the wall here. I have a bracket. I have this bracket here, which obviously goes onto the wall and it pivots, so I can, you know, kind of up and down and everything. So that's pretty good. But obviously, if it's extended and it takes the angle of the wall, it's going to be like looking like that, which is looking a bit weird. It's going to look like it's falling off the wall. So I'm going to make a bracket, much like I've done in the electrics cupboard, to counteract that and make it kind of a vertical hang. I think I'm going to make a hole in here and bring up the cable, the power cable needed for the TV, so I don't have to trail a cable. That's quite easy because this board I've unscrewed and I can kind of get behind that to not too much bother. So right, let's try that. Okay, so my plans with these flank pieces, obviously these are going to house the lamps in them, but my plan is to get a piece of 18mm ply and then, yeah, basically put the lamps in there. But what I think I'm going to do is put an angle on that one so it fits nice, you know, that angle there, so it fits nice and snug. I will have to probably put a little bit of trim down there at some point, but that'll be a nice snug fit. And then the thing I'm not sure about is there, if it was like that, that's if I keep that at 90, that's a bit of a sharp edge. I don't really like that look, so I might have to put another edge on that one there, which, well, it's a lot of cutting, but I reckon that is the way to go. Actually, it's less cutting if I keep it the same angle. So this is a 21-degree angle, both sides, so it fits flush against the wall. And then when it meets the ceiling, it will be a nice 21-degree angle up there. So you won't have that sharp edge, hopefully. Then I'll just finish that with some trim. Well, that actually went a bit better than I thought. Kind of, that worked out quite nicely, those cuts, once I've kind of got the hang of how to orientate the boards and everything. Now I need to sand the edges, clean them up, and then start varnishing them. So I'm going on with this what is it, satin walnut varnish. So it's kind of 3 coats, but it takes no time at all to dry, so I'm going to start whacking this on now. It's taken me ages to come to the conclusion to use 18mm ply for these pieces. I was thinking about using some sapele or indeed walnut planks, but the cost of it was just immense. So I've opted for 18mm ply, and I think I've offered these up already, and I think it's going to work well. So I'm just going to go about staining them now. This is 3 coats of walnut stain. It takes no time at all dry, so this is a good product. You've got to excuse the noise that you'll hear in the background of some of my videos now, because my fan's got a wobble to it. I think one of the blades has shifted anyway, so it kind of makes a right racket. So on the seam where the wall's going to be, I'm just sealing that with some end of glues. It's a good way of using them up. So I'm just kind of doing these 3 now. Are going to be my first 3 to put up, and my first one is going to go there. And this now gives me the chance to rethink my light positions. My last lamp is there, and I haven't got anything in there in the corner, and I'm kind of thinking it could do with it. It's a bit kind of dark in a way, so I think if I had another one there, so I've got one here, one there, and then one in the corner, I think that'd be the right way to go. And then obviously I have to match it on that side. Right, I'll let that go off. Right, here's one of the boards. It's had 3 coats of varnish on it, and I've got the 2 lamps in there. And these red lines on the back denote where I need to make the holes for the screws to go through. The screws I've chosen are these ones here. So they're black ones, because it's going to be in walnut, so I didn't want anything kind of too visible. But I'm not sure if these are going to be the best thing. Obviously, they're going to have to be countersunk. But I might have to kind of, I don't know, I'll see what it looks like when it's up. Obviously they'll be visible, so I might have to plug them at some stage, but for the moment I'm just going to use these black screws. I have successfully put up the first piece of flank trim with the lights in it, and it's actually gone up kind of better than I thought. It's a bit fiddly on some of the bulbs where there's not much cable to come through, but it's kind of a nice tight fit up there. That's lovely, and you can't really see the screw holes, which has kind of worked quite well. This is going to have, this facing edge here is going to have some, maybe some walnut, kind of a thin piece of walnut glue to it in time, but for the moment I just didn't really want an exposed ply edge, and actually that's come out not too bad at all. It's quite a laborious process, but I'll show you what it looks like with the lights on. I mean, you can't really see it very well on the camera, but yeah, that is nice. It's obviously much nicer. They've got a proper direction as opposed to what I have been living with, where they're just kind of anywhere. So yeah, this is going to be quite nice. I'm looking forward to seeing how the patterns emerge on the walls now. Right, next piece is ready. Hole's been cut. Just got to put the last piece of varnish on this now. Yeah, I apologise for the light, but this is working quite well. That line's quite nice, but the way it clamps in against the ceiling panel is nice. It's got to be a bit of trim. I have to cover that, but yeah, this is all right. So I've got, what have I done? I think I've done 4 of them so far. So 2 more lamps on this side and the galley until that whole run is complete. Okay, in the morning light it looks a lot better, a lot more, yeah, defined, the line. I like a little bit of the satin look on it, that's quite nice. It's not full gloss. And definitely putting the lamp in that corner there was a good idea. And so was putting that bevel on it, so it's got, yeah, it just looks a lot, yeah, that works well. The line's quite nice. So I've pretty much finished this. There's a little bit to do before the electrics cupboard, but I'm going to wait until I've put the electrics cupboard back together on that. So now I'm going to start down there, and I think this bit is going to be transformational from there all the way to the bathroom bulkhead down there. Oh yes, that is taking shape nicely. So the next piece I've got to do is quite a complicated one. It's got 2 lamps in it, and I'm going to put a switch in it so I can isolate those bulbs there, so when the kids are in the midships cabin, I don't have to have all of them on if I don't need them. And again, in the midships cabin, I only had 1 line coming down, so I've just split that, so I'll have a bulb on that side there and one on that side there. Okay, you may remember that as the old sliding door. I had to trim quite a lot off that edge there for it to fit in, and it did fit in, obviously before I put these flank pieces up. So I do need to trim this now so it can close nicely, and then I can put some trim going across there and cover up all the seams. And I think for that I'm just going to laminate some 9mm ply together, because 18 won't take the bend very easily. Yeah, this really helps define the boat, and kind of having the lights going all the way up there now to the bathroom. I haven't done the other side of the bathroom and the bedroom yet. I need to kind of move on, but I'm really happy with the way this is working. The way it went round the flue, yeah, it's superb. It took me ages to work out how to do this. I kind of procrastinated and put it off because I knew it'd be a bit of a tricky job to do. Talking about putting things off and tricky jobs to do is flooring, and that's my next main task. I think it's obviously going to transform the look of the boat, but really before my kids can come on here, it needs to have flooring down because it's just rubbish everywhere, and I'm hoping that will then force me to keep it looking much better. Flooring is usually the first thing that goes down, because then everything is obviously built onto the floor. I haven't done that, obviously. I kind of tell myself in my kind of to justify it in my own head. I say the reason I didn't is because when I first took occupation of this boat, it was completely full, and I never really got the point where it was empty. Now everything on here I've put on, and everything that was on here is no longer on here. But it was never a point where it was empty enough to put any flooring down. But it now means I need to put the flooring down around everything. I'm going to elevate the flooring, which is basically better flooring than I had on Slow Patrol, which was sticky tiles. And this one I'm going to go for that click and fit vinyl plank kind of stuff. And the colour I'm going to go for is walnut. So I'm hoping it's going to match that, and I think it's going to look pretty striking. But yeah, I've made a bit of a task for myself now to lay flooring around all of this. But first off, let's get the flooring. Okay, this is the flooring I've gone for. It's vinyl click and flip flooring from B&Q, and the colour match is pretty damn good. It's going to look pretty cool next to all of that stuff. The reason why you put flooring down first though is because this stuff expands, and I need an expansion gap of about 8mm around the sides. And therefore, for me to put that up to there and have a gap, I'm going to have to get a massive bit of trim to cover all of that. And you get that. You can buy that trim. It's not going to be easy to get it around the curves, but also it's pretty naff looking stuff. So what I'm going to want it to do is basically look like that. So it looks like this has been built on top of it. And for that to happen means I've got to cut a channel around all of basically everything I've built inside the boat and slide this in, only a little bit, and then it will have room to expand. So the way to do that is, obviously the floor's got to be cleaned up first, but to mark it all out, this is the underlay I'll be using. So I'll be able to gauge the right height from it. And you offer that bit up. Then using the multi-tool, just a flat blade, basically go make the cut, and then use some chisels to cut it all out. And then once I've cut the bottom line as well, get my assortment of small chisels and then start hacking it out, kind of carefully. This has gone pretty much better than I thought. It's taken quite a long time. I've just done the galley, I haven't done the whole boat at all. My knees are killing me, so I'm stopping now. But this gives you quite a good view of what I've done here. I've got to clean up all the areas. There's a few bits where it's split, and you see some resin drops and things like that there. So I'm going to clean it all up now. Right, what I've done is I've just gone along and sanded all those edges there, so it's a nice clean kind of fit. I'm just going to go on with a little bit of gloss varnish now, just to finish that off before I put the floor down, just because obviously I've taken a little bit of the varnish off in the sanding. And the same around here with the walnut. So I'm just going to sand all that bit down and then paint or apply walnut varnish to all of that stuff, just so any gaps in it you don't see any light wood underneath it. Right, I've hoovered up everywhere and made the floor as blemish free as I can. Now I've got to go on with the underlay and just tape that down in place. I don't really know where I'm going to start the flooring, but I'm going to basically start the underlay right under the step there and cover it all as much as I can, and then work out the pattern for the flooring. This is going okay. I'm just using masking tape to kind of keep it all in place. This stuff is meant to be a slight acoustic and thermal barrier, but also stops the boards from moving through friction, but you don't have to glue or fix anything down, which is why I've made all these cutaways so it kind of fits in much nicer. This is going okay. Now I need to work out the pattern, and obviously they're all the same length, all the boards, so I need to stagger them so it looks nice. So I've just got to work out at what length should the staggers be. Right, this is 12mm flooring, so it's quite chunky, and obviously it's got a tongue and groove on both sides. This is one I've just lopped in half, so obviously I'll get rid of that. I'll have to cut all this down, so take that off, and that's a flush fit under there. But that works all right. Obviously I've got to round a bit of that bit off, but so obviously I'm going to have to position it so it's like a mil under, so it covers it, but there's a gap still. And the same on that side there. Right, my first piece has proven to be the trickiest to lay. I'm choosing to do this one because this is quite an important one. These two cabinets are slightly offset, so it means that this, and because all of the kind of side seams all interlock, I can't trim anything on that, on the length side. So I'm going to have to make sure that this bit here, which clips into that board there, retains the tongue. So the only way I'm going to do that is better cut out these bits here, which obviously they don't need a tongue to go underneath there, because it's just sitting underneath the cabinets. So I've used a bit of CAD to get this right, except I've cut that corner wrong. So but I just have to remember that when I'm actually doing the main board. And these boards you can't cut with a blade, you've got to cut with a saw. Okay, after cutting my first piece completely incorrectly, because I cut the groove off that bit, so I can't slide that bit in there. But this first piece is cut to size. Now obviously I need to put the underlay down and kind of put that in, but now I can position everything off of that, I'm hoping. And then basically all the bits just click into place, and then you can slide it up and down. Happy days. All right, this is kind of good and bad. I really like the flooring, it feels really nice underfoot, but I don't know how I'm going to actually do it now, because it's kind of, you can't slide one in and then clip it into place like I've seen other versions be able to do that. This has got to be kind of, well, you can't do anything with it in that way. It can only go in the way it's designed, which is up like that, kind of clicks in place, and then down, which, I mean, how much I don't know how I'm going to do those bits now. This is kind of giving me stuff to worry about. I'm wondering if I don't even think I can get the sides in and then like put the last one in and push it all down and it splays out. I don't think even that's going to work, because of some of the angles are kind of competing against each other. So I'm basically just sitting here staring at it. That's all I'm doing at the moment. And I might do that for the next few hours. Okay, I've managed to do a full width. I'm going to have to forego where all the lines are and trying to make them match, because I'm just got to put this in kind of bit by bit. So this one here, like the seam, if you cut it well, you can't really see that, so that's going to be okay. And then get it right round into the corner, and then, I know, like a game of Tetris really. And then cut it there, and then put a full board in there. So yeah, it's going to have to take a little bit of jiggery pokery. Actually, like loads of jiggery pokery. I'm hoping further on it'll be slightly easier to get them all in, but not at the minute. Yeah, on my list here it said flooring one day. That's where it all starts to go wrong. Kind of think, right, I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'll do that, thinking I'll get all them done in a day. A week and a half later, they're still not finished. So yeah, lots to do, but thanks for watching, and hopefully next time I will have got more floor down. Until next time, take care, bye bye.